Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Today we're going to take a stroll through several prophecies and new information, and hopefully this is going to refresh some memories and also to kind of paint a picture of where we're going with all of this. So this first thing comes to us from the most reliable source in the universe, and that would be CNN. Almost feel like I need to wash my mouth out when I say that. CNN.com headline says, September 20th, gas prices in the UK could trigger food shortages within weeks. Now, we've been talking about this. We have 9 different dreams from people all this year, all talking about food shortages. But, of course, we doubt that. But now, if CNN says that food shortages are coming, why, absolutely, we positively guarantee that's the truth, right? Wrong. Nevertheless, it says, UK supermarkets could face shortages of meat and other fresh food within weeks after soaring gas prices prompted a major U.S. fertilizer manufacturer to suspend production, turning off most of Britain's supply of carbon dioxide. That's the gas it's talking about. Carbon dioxide to the food and drink industry in the process. Now, do you think that that's an accident? Do you really think it's high gas prices that's causing? No. It's part of the Moloch and Baal worshippers shutting down the world because we're in the process of arresting them and shutting them down. Illinois-based CF Industries said last week that it would halt operations indefinitely at its 2 UK plants because of high price of natural gas. Those plants supply 60% of the United Kingdom's food-grade CO2 as a byproduct of fertilizer production, according to, I'll skip all that, which warned on Friday that the supply shock could cause food shortages within 14 days once current stocks of CO2 gas run out. This gas is used to stun animals for slaughter, as well as in packaging to extend the shelf life of fresh, chilled, and baked goods into production of carbonated drinks. And so the CEO, Nick Allen, has been inundated with calls since the factories shut. The retailers are really concerned about it. This crisis highlights the fact that the British food supply chain is at the mercy of a small number of major fertilizer producers. Now, okay, so what's the point? The point is they're saying that food is about to become scarce in various ways. Now let me jump to a totally different topic, but I think it's important we cover it. I'm going to go back to May 31, 2021, Benjamin Fulford. Headline, World Military and Intelligence Agencies to remove Western civilian governments. Now, you're going to see I have to not say some of the things in this, but hopefully you can read some of them. Some of them I just had to remove. But nevertheless, it says, a decision has been made at the highest echelons of power that the world is just not working. And, of course, we agree. And a wholesale revamp is needed. We'll agree with that, too. According to, and it gives the place here, in particular, the ongoing, I can't say that word, is entirely a drug-pushing effort and means all of the world's civilian governments are suspected of engaging in genocide. According to, gives the place there, to summarize, the world's military and intelligence agencies come to the conclusion that Western civilian governments have just been hijacked by a satanic cult, we call them Moloch and Baal worshippers, need to be removed. There has been a coalescence among the world's intelligence agencies, and this is really the plan, and this is not the only person that says this is the plan, because we share a common enemy. And this is how this one group described the situation. These agencies have come to the conclusion that if urgent action is not taken, quote, billions of people will die by the autumn, as in about right now. When asked, how in the name of God did these people seize the world, a senior European royal said, and we're going to call them Moloch and Baal worshippers, are particularly dangerous people. They are beyond evil, and I'll agree. As an example of their mafia-like compromise and control system, this source described an incident where, quote, beautiful children were beheaded in front of a congregation. In other words, they get a group of people together, They videotape them watching these children being beheaded. That's what they say. Now, I can't prove that. That's what they claim is the truth here. And for the Moloch and Baal worshippers that believe in human sacrifice and eating human flesh and blood, and it sounds believable, as sick as it is. But again, these are the people that are fighting Jesus, the ultimate in evil. Now, we can understand that. We can understand when Moses came down off of the mountain with the Ten Commandments, he looked down and he saw people worshiping the molten calf, the golden calf. Well, they're still doing it today. And that's the reason he commanded his people to take a sword, to go into the tents, and to slay all of the people that had been worshiping the golden calf. Same people, same spirit today, okay? So it goes on to say, in front of this congregation of elite leaders who had been drugged, quote, all of the faces were recorded, so there is a repository of blackmail intelligence. That's what they do. That's all they do is kill, steal, and destroy. They use blackmail. If you do this, we're going to do this. If you don't do this, we're going to do this. Or we use bribes. These people are so evil, you see. So this sort of event has taken place all over the world. In Japan, too, this writer has noted over the years how only compromised politicians are allowed into positions of power. Now, we want to believe there's still some good guys, but the point is, he's actually explaining why there's so much evil in the world, why there's so much evil in America, and how these evil people have taken over the world. They didn't do it by the love of Jesus. They did it by the hate of Lucifer, you see. The incredible extent to which this blackmail and compromise network runs is why a truth and reconciliation process is needed for the people who are unwillingly dragged into this cult. So they're saying, we got to get rid of this evil, and I agree, but let me tell you, it's not easy because these people remain hidden. You don't know who they are. The person right next to someone important oftentimes is a traitor. Often, and they will act and say all the right words until it comes up to the really, really important issues, and then they make a phone call, or then they make a decision, or then they turn a lever, or they push a button to destroy it. Traitors. Let's go on. The Pentagon is also on the case, according to this senior official. Gitmo is operating 24/7 processing detainees. There are 4 teams working 6-hour shifts with 3 persons in the JAG team. There are currently tens of thousands, I want to believe this, and remember, I told you May 9th, I believe it was, or March 9th, I heard massive arrests. So I believe this to be true. There are currently tens of thousands of prisoners in multi-level underground prison facilities near Greenland. I probably shouldn't say that either. All transferred from Gitmo. Special Operations Forces and Marines are the only ones being used to make the arrest of the cabal and their minions. Why? Because the other alphabet agencies, according to him and other sources, are all part of the Moloch and Baal, or at least controlled by them. We can confirm that, gotta skip that, and many of the groups have decided enough is enough. A team of over 1,000 lawyers and over 10,000 medical experts have begun legal proceedings against these groups for crimes against humanity. They have full military and agency backing. A relative of them says that the certain base is the center of the operations of the U.S. Space Force, and they have access to off-world technology. Well, how do they get access to off-world technology? Here's the way it works. They sacrifice humans, which opens a portal into other dimensions. Then the demons come out of the dimensions and give them the technology. So anybody that has off-world technology, it's not good. I mean, an angel wouldn't have to come down and give them off-world technology. God just speaks to the heart, just like he told them how to make the Ark of the Covenant. No one ever knew what an Ark of the Covenant was or how to make it. But God just spoke to the hearts of the people, just wisdom came on them, and that's the way it is. In other words, off-world technology is from demons. It's straight from the pit of hell. We have access to off-world technology, and we're in constant contact with our off-world family. Off-world family? Show me book, chapter, and verse on that in the Bible. That's not in the Bible. There is no off-world family that's good. All of these guys are talking to demons. Off-world family working side by side for the advancement and freedom of humanity. And if you believe that, we got some coastal property in Kansas for sale too. Lies. I mean, even the good guys are deceived. Now let's go on to the next article. It's official. U.S. to exit. Now this is back in June of 2021. So understand that the dollar in its fall didn't just begin August 24th. It began, here we go, back in June. It's official. Russia to exit U.S. dollar. Other countries likely to follow. HalTurnerRadioShow.com, June 2021. This morning, the Russian finance minister publicly confirmed, quote, Russia to exit from all dollar assets in its wealth fund and to invest in euros, pound, gold, yuan instead. The Russian finance minister, can't say his name, will introduce changes to the structure of the National Wealth Fund within a month, as the share of the U.S. dollar will decrease to zero. So the Russians are getting out of it. And the share of the yuan will grow to 30%. Just as the central bank, we made a decision to reduce the National Wealth Fund investment in dollar assets. We made a decision to abandon the dollar assets completely and to increase the share of euro and gold instead. In other words, the Russians know something real bad is coming. The share of dollar will amount to zero. Euro will be to 40%, yuan 30%, gold 20%, pound and yen will go to 5% each. According to the finance minister, this will happen quite quickly within a month. That's back in June. So we're already seeing people beginning to uncouple from the dollar. Now, since the Russians have withdrawn from the dollar, do you think that they still have piles of dollars? No, they've been getting rid of them. And it's going to get worse. Now let's go to the petrodollar. He says some people are quickly claiming Russia's move is meaningless because the world operates on the petrodollar. Yeah, it did as of August 24, 2021, when the Saudis signed an agreement with Russia that Russia would now be the Saudi protector. So we see more that says the dollar is going to be falling. Every country must have dollars in the foreign. That used to be the case. But again, this article was written back in June. Well, as of August 24th, not true anymore. It is arrogantly thought that as long as the oil must be bought and sold in dollars, there is no way the world can de-dollarize because they must possess the currency to trade oil. And that's the reason I'm reading this article, because this article says that the Russians got out way back in June, and now they're also saying, as of August 24th, the Saudis are out. And these are the people that were requiring oil to be purchased in dollars. That began to change recently. Saudi Arabia is now settling oil contracts in yuan, and the trade has been rapidly growing. So it actually started back in June. Now copper contracts will start settling in yuan as well. The next step is super doom. Russia and China will exit the petrodollar. Well, especially as of August 24th. The next step is super doom. Russia and China will exit the petrodollar. Once that takes place, all countries will stampede into other currencies that oil can be traded in, and they will dump their dollar currency reserves. Boom. All those trillions of dollars will come flooding back to the United States in such enormous amount, it will instantly trigger hyperinflation and literally wipe out the value of the U.S. fiat currency. Now, let's go to another article. Zero Hedge, June 3rd, 2021. Headline: Russia's $186 billion sovereign wealth fund dumps all dollar reserves. And this article goes in to confirm the other one, but I want to read one sentence here. He explained that the Kremlin is moving to reduce exposure to U.S. assets as President J.B. threatens more economic sanctions against Russia following the latest ransomware attacks. So as things get worse, our JB is helping them to get worse. As I said, the whole thing with Afghanistan is not foolishness. They're not clocked out. They're not out to lunch. These people are evil, trying to destroy the last Christian place on earth. Same thing with the southern border. If they can get people of other faiths, many of them straight out of jail to come in and flood into America. Well, remember Revelation 18, I saw another angel come down from heaven having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So every person that they can let into America that's not a Christian, that's a filthy, dirty person spiritually, that furthers their goal, that furthers God saying, all right, there's too many people in there that are just too evil, time to destroy America. So it destroys us. Now, let's go to a mudslide dream. I've read this several times. Let me point out something. Prophet Leslie Johnson, July 25, 2010. In my dream, Stan and I were watching a mudslide in progress. What's the mudslide? The fall of the dollar, okay? Some houses are already fallen. In other words, some people at this point in the dream, had already felt the effects of the dollar falling. Some houses had already fallen. We began going from house to house shouting. Well, that's what we're doing right now. You're on the edge. If you don't want to fall in the mudslide, you have to balance your house. Got to get prepared. Which, by the way, gold and silver through cornerstoneassetmetals.com might be a very good place to consider. Not giving financial advice. You got to decide what the Lord tells you to do. If you don't want to fall in the mudslide, you have to balance your house. You have to stop standing on the edge and hanging over. Only a few houses remained standing. Then the scene changed. We, meaning Leslie and I, were on a boat floating in the mud. There were already fish everywhere in our boat, meaning before this mudslide even comes, the Lord has already given us a bunch of fish, a bunch of souls. Suddenly, fish from all directions begin jumping out of the mud, means the world of sin, into our boat. Means as this dollar slides, as the trouble hits, more people will begin to start listening to this ministry and getting saved as a result. Among them were several very large fish, meaning some of them very wealthy people. I was holding a huge, unusual-looking fish that had no scales. It looked like a skinned cat. Stan asked, "What is that?" I replied, "It's a fish, as if you can't see." Stan inquired, "Well, why is it so strange looking? I've never seen a fish like that before." I answered, "This fish looks like a chicken with the skin peeled off because they have nothing to protect them now," meaning the dollar fell, they lost all their wealth. That's what it's saying. They're jumping into the boat when their houses fell in the mudslide. They lost all of their money. Interpretation. I always pray that if the dream is of the Lord, He will continue speaking to me and help me to understand its meaning, and He did. I believe the mudslide is the current financial state of our nation. Now, we know more. It's specifically the fall of the dollar, as well as others. By us going from house to house, warning the people to get balanced and get off the edge, is telling us that we should be in homes, on TV at the question. No, we need to be reaching more people by warning them to get their house in balance or to get order, and many need to get saved. Now, let me go on down here. Next article here. This comes to us from usawatchdog.com, June 1, headline, "We are at the top of the bubble," says finance and economic expert, gives the name there, say a new rule change called, quote, net stable funding requirement of the Bank of International Settlements is going to help drive the price of gold and many of the commodities higher. It goes on to explain how they can go higher. Now let's go on to the next one. 5/11/2021, Jason Meeks. Society breakdown, food shortage. Again, I have 9 different dreams that all says a food shortage is about to come. Oh, let me also say something about the Canary Islands and the volcano. I believe, while I can't prove, I believe that they're using scalar wave or the earthquake weapon to cause earthquakes on the little island called La Palma. And the reason is their hope is that the southwest corner of the volcano will slide into the ocean, zip across the Atlantic at 520 miles an hour, and devastate the East Coast with a major tsunami. And that's the reason we continue to see all of these earthquakes and volcanoes on the La Palma Island. Do I think that's the hand of God? No, I do not. I think that's the hand of high technology, the hand of the Moloch and Baal worshippers, and they're trying to say, stop arresting us. stop coming after us. If you don't, just like they told Benjamin Fulford, we've ruled this nation we've ruled the planet for thousands of years, and we'll destroy it rather than give it up, unquote. This is their threat. This is blackmail. This is what they do. And I'm sure that they have sent envoys or people that are representing them to the right people in right places saying, you let our people go, you stop arresting us, you give us your way, or we're not only going to continue this, but we're going to do this. It's a blackmail. That's what they do. That's what they always do. Now, back to the dream. So, society breakdown, food shortage. Stan and I and 20 other people were in the back of a grocery store, and a group walked from the back to the main store to purchase some Tang, which should have cost about $1, but now the price was $5.99, 6 times the amount. We saw the prices of goods on the shelf were up at least 30 to 40% higher than last week. 30 to 40% higher in a week. We bought the item and headed back to the back, but instead of it being full of stock and merchandise, now it was all cleaned out, meaning what you're going to see, probably in short order, is the grocery stores, they're going to be all cleaned out. And as they release this second pandemic, you can imagine they're going to say only this time it's going to be a real lockdown, a real bad bug released. And they're going to say everybody got to stay in their houses. Only this time they really do have to stay in their houses. So I'm telling you, you need to ask yourself, if I can't come out of my home for, say, a year, what do I need to have? Do you have food? Do you have water? If there's suitcase nukes go off, do you have something to filter the air to keep the radioactive dust out of your lungs? And, of course, if you need food, we're going to send you to heavensharvest.com. Promo code there is STAN. If you need an EMP protection device for your computer chips in your car and your house, we're going to send you to empshield.com, empshield.com. Promo code there is prophecy. So, heavensharvest.com, promo code STAN. Heavensharvest.com, promo code STAN. CornerstoneAssetMetals.com, just say Prophecy Club, or EMPShield.com, promo code prophecy. All right, so back to the dream. So we bought the item, and we headed back, but instead of being full of stock and merchandise, they were all cleaned out. There were crackers, canned goods, non-perishable food items, all kinds of random items, all new. One man is selling the goods at super high prices, not that he was trying to cheat people, just trying to survive. This was his only job, just reselling items he had recently purchased, just trying to make a little profit. Now let's jump to another dream from Jason Meeks. Headline, or name, DFW and Lubbock, Texas, both nuked. In the dream, I was lifted up to the sky, and I saw the outline of the state of Texas. He lives in Kentucky, hadn't been to Texas. I saw 3 small nuclear detonations. One hit Dallas, one hit Fort Worth, one hit Lubbock. After the explosions, I saw, oh, by the way, that was EMPShield.com, promo code prophecy, EMPShield.com, promo code prophecy. After the explosions, I saw people walking. Why were they walking? Because it fried the computer chip into the car. And another guy was shown that they couldn't even get the doors open because the doors opened electronically. Didn't have a little metal key you stick in the side and turn it. And after that dream, I walked out and I looked at my car and my wife's car. Neither one of them have a slot to stick a metal key in. I mean, if we don't have EMP protection, when the EMP goes off, we can't even open the doors to our cars. After the explosions, I saw people walking. No cars on the road. People were walking to cities of refuge for cities of refuge, not out in the boons someplace. Cities of refuge for food, water, and basics of life and safety for themselves and their families. In the cities were saved Christians mostly, people who would at least listen to the gospel, even if they didn't fully understand it. All the people were helping each other, sharing their resources. The yet to be saved were not eager to share, but did so primarily for their own safety and their own families so that they could stay within the city. Everyone entered into the city was given a copy of the 10 Commandments and told to learn them. They had to follow them if they're going to stay there. If they didn't follow them, they'd have to leave. There was no army or men or machine guns patrolling keeping watch, which struck me as odd, but there were just a few sheriffs, which were over manageable-sized groups. There were no courts or judges, just a handful of sheriffs to keep order, having one pistol on their duty belt. The sheriffs were godly men and did not allow two sets of rules. All were treated fair and equal. Everyone knew the sheriff's word was final, although the sheriffs were very godly men and very kind to people. The yet to be saved were nervous around them because they were nervous that they might lie to them by accident, might make a mistake by accident, but did not want to be forced to leave the city. They did not speak to the sheriff unless spoken to. Now let's jump to another big one. Remember, Dmitri was told the fall of America will start with an internal revolution. I heard that in February of 1987. So long ago now, I have to think. February 1987. But Dmitri heard that in someplace in 1984. So all this time, we've been watching for the fall of America will start with an internal revolution. As I've said a couple of times, I was hoping that internal revolution was something like, rioting, burning, looting, writing nasty words on the walls like we saw about 18 months ago. But that's not exactly the definition of revolution. You look it up, and the definition is the overthrow, most cases, the violent overthrow of the government by the people. Now, with that in mind, this is a confirmation. So April 2, 2021, Jack Rigney has this dream. I talked to him. He confirmed the dream. He said, I saw an armored battalion of tanks, Humvees, and roof-mounted machine guns, armored personnel carriers with cannons going down Pennsylvania Avenue to the Capitol, the Supreme Court, and the White House. Army personnel brought out the servicemen, guards, and police guarding those three buildings, took their weapons, and put them down on the street. All the guards had surrendered to the military. Then the Army personnel went back in all three different buildings and took whatever they wanted. We assume that is evidence. He saw the military take temporary control of the nation to arrest the evildoers and the wrongdoers, and that's why the way the Constitution would have it done. On certain circumstances, the military can step in and take temporary control of the nation to put things back in order, and that is what I saw. Now, as further confirmation, Charles Turner, April 2021, this is my summarized version. It's called Totalitarian Government. He said, I had a vision. I was in a room and I heard a loud rumbling under my feet and rolling behind me. On the wall in front of me began to appear numbers. The numbers calculated like algebra and geometry, and I saw cash. Remember, Dana Coverstone saw a vacuum cleaner sucking cash out of the banks. Same thing here. I saw cash dropping into an abyss type of place. There was no end to it. Cash was disappearing. I hope you're hearing. Cash was disappearing into darkness. I saw dollars begin to start fading on each side to the point where you couldn't see the numbers on the bills, but the numbers continued to fade away. Now, let me say something. A lot of people might say, yeah, well, this hadn't come to pass yet. Well, then a lot of people will say, well, God just gave us a lot of warning here. Other people say, well, God didn't give us enough warning. In this case, we should be saying, thank you, Lord, for letting us know, letting us have enough time to get prepared. So we need to all get prepared. Let me say it again. If you think that you need to have gold, silver, precious metals of some kind, we're going to send you at cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Terry Saka owns the company. I know him. I've talked to him many times. And the people there love us. Matter of fact, I called the lady, asked a question, answered the phone. She said, your people. Your people. I said, what? She says, we love your people. They're so good when they call. Such good people. We love Prophecy Club people. So cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Just say Prophecy Club when you call. Anyway, now let's get back to it here. I saw dollars begin to start fading on each side to the point where you couldn't see the numbers on the bills, but the numbers continued to fade away. I was made to know that the dollar is going away. Oh, listen to this. And a cashless system of digital numbers was coming to be our new medium of exchange. Why? And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on the right hand or in their forehead. And that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now, you remember Henry Kissinger was quoted as saying, "He who controls food controls the people. He who controls energy can control entire continents. But he who controls the money can control the world. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive." Okay, so this is what they're doing. They're setting up a global, what will become the mark of the beast system. They're doing away with the fiat currency that's been, the Moloch and Baal worshippers have been controlling us with it for 300 years that we know of. Truth be, probably knowing all the way back before the pyramids. These are evil, evil people. So they're moving, so they ruined the SWIFT system based upon the dollar bill and all the other things, the coins and the paper currency of the nations, 198 nations now, so they say. So they ruined that system, and then the extraterrestrial, benevolent, off-world technology gives us a quantum computer to help mankind. It's the devil's. Okay, so then the devil gives us a quantum computer, helps us set up a global, digital, cashless system so that it's all one system. Why? And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on the right hand. Okay, so they're setting up a cashless system so that he who controls the money can control the world. In other words, if you don't take that mark of the beast, you won't be able to buy or sell, hold a job. You won't be able to go to get medical care, to a hospital. You won't be able to buy gasoline, make car payments, keep your house. You are out, well, to the place to where God is going to have to protect you and to provide for us. Well, that's what God's wanting anyway. He's wanting us to believe him. All right, let's go on here. So he says, "I saw that the dollar is going away, and a cashless system of digital numbers was coming to be our new medium of exchange. I heard the Lord say the word digital. I said, oh my God, the cash is fading away. The digital is coming into a new domain. I looked to my left and I saw the new anti-V. I saw doctors collaborating in a new type of association they'd all agreed to join. It was mandatory. They were proud and arrogant that they were bringing in a new anti-V. Can't say it. Now, let me just jump in here. Right now, Leslie has been invited, along with Pastor Masih, to go to Dubai and to Pakistan. We're asking for people to fast and pray for her safety and her anointing while she's there. Well, about midnight, we got a call from Pastor Masih, and it turns up that the Emirates airline, which is one of them she was planning on flying on, as of the first of the month, says everybody has to have the vaccine in order to get on their airline. And, of course, she spent all night long trying to make arrangements to do what she wants to do to get over there to minister. Now, without getting all the details that are not the point we're talking about today, if they can say you can't get on an airline without taking a vaccine, and I know for a fact that I was not able to go to a doctor unless I was willing to wear a mask. So if you have to wear a mask, you have to wear a vaccine, you have to take a vaccine in order to do something. All of this is just practice. It's just practice. Just like you see people putting tattoos on their skin. All of this is practice. These are preliminary steps heading to the mark of the beast. Now, let's go on. He says they were proud and arrogant that they were bringing in this new anti-V. The anti-V was to push new laws, stabbing the people in the back, and I heard the word totalitarian government. Well, that's what the world government is, okay? 7 continents, divided into 10 global regions. Each global region has a ruler. Those are the horns. I saw the church nationwide globally being bitten. In other words, it's going to start shrinking. Then the church screamed and yelled out to God and said, Lord, help us. Help us. We're being closed in on from all sides. And I heard the Lord saying, 2020. Suddenly, a spiritual wall encircled the entire United States and came up as a wall, and I was made to know it was seduction. The Lord spoke and said, the spirit of seduction came upon America in March of 2020. What was that? That's the V. My people are being seduced. Warn them. The time is short, and it's shorter than everyone thinks. It's shorter than everyone thinks. Could it be that the 7-year tribulation really is about to start? Could it be that that's a sign on the road that we missed? Could it be that the tribulation has already started? I don't think so. But it's too early to rule out, because I believe that the 2 cows really were a prophecy. The black and white cow with a pristine 7 across his forehead represented, in my opinion, 7 years of plenty. Then, and by the way, they were both born or revealed to the public on a Shemitah. Well, Shemitah only happens once every 7 years. Now, the last Shemitah that just happened was September the 6th, 2021. In my opinion, I think September 6th, 2021, the Feast of Trumpets, is the start of 7 years of famine. I suspected that it might, maybe even to a certain degree, I still kind of suspect that it may have started the last 7 years or the 7-year tribulation. However, Revelation 6:1 says, I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder. No one has heard that noise of thunder, and Ken Peters said that every ear on earth heard it, but there's not scripture to back that up. So it may be that the tribulation did start, nothing was heard. I don't know. I just don't know. I keep praying God will tell me or send me the information, but I hadn't got it yet. Okay, so anyway, the point is they're saying that there's another V coming and another anti-V. Now, I guess I should also say this too. So I called Lindsey Williams, good friend of mine, used to have connections to people real high up in the elite. Lindsey, what do you think about this V and the anti-V? Here's what he told me. He said, well, the point of the V had many things, among them to get DJT out of office. A lot of things it did. But the point of the V was to bring on the anti-V. And the point of the anti-V, while it's killing many people, which is worship to their god, Moloch and Baal, he said the point of the anti-V is it will destroy the immune systems of those people taking it. But it doesn't destroy the immune systems now so much, or for this V so much, as it destroys it for the next V that they will release in 2 or 3 years. And he said, and when they release that V, it will blow through the human population, and just about everybody that has taken the anti-V, it has destroyed their immune system specifically in that way, and it will kill them quickly. There will be mass deaths as a result of it. Now, can I prove that? No, I can't. But I can just tell you, I don't take the flu shot, and I ain't taking that V or the anti-V. I ain't do it. I already had the V, and I didn't even get the what do you call it? I didn't even get a fever. Now, I will tell you that as soon as I started feeling myself get sick, and I can feel my body getting sick very early, far more than apparently most people, I immediately started on a Z-Pack, and then I jumped to the H thing that I can't say, but I didn't even get a fever. I mean, I lost my sense of smell, my sense of taste for about a week, and it was gone. So I know it's really devastating to some people, but again, all of this is all worship to Moloch and Baal. That's what they're all about. Okay, one more thing, and then we'll wrap it up. March 2021, David Phillips had a dream in the future. A new pandemic that was sweeping through the nation 10 times more deadly. That's what Lindsey Williams said too. 10 times more deadly. There was great fear in the people, and everything was locked down tight, much tighter than before, with families shut up in their homes. I'm warning you. Ask yourself, if you can't leave your home for a year, do you have all the wherewithal, everything you need to survive in your home without leaving the 4 walls of your home for a year? HeavensHarvest.com, promo code STAN. EMPShield.com, promo code PROPHECY. And CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. Finally, a book to settle your heart about the question about the rapture. It explains how 501c3 board members hire, fire, and tell the preacher what he will and will not preach. It also gives you 4 principles to understand all rapture scriptures: the secret door, the morning star, what is the wrath of God, eternity entering time, who are the nations. It also gives you 25 pre-trib questions answered. How Pre-Trib 1 at prophecyclub.com. How Pre-Trib 1. Click like, share, subscribe, and send to a friend.